All right, what's up, you guys? This is BoxingWave. Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman is next week. Okay, I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna go to the fight or not. But I'll definitely be seeing this fight. I wouldn't miss this fight for the world. So the fight's next week. I've done two breakdowns on. I did two breakdowns of this fight basically before the first fight was canceled. Okay, now they're fighting in Brooklyn. And before they were fighting at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. Now they're fighting in Brooklyn next week. And listen, my position hasn't changed. I know there's video footage of a sparring session between these two a few years ago, and I seen the video, and honestly, listen, if you pick Shawn to win this fight, because I do think it's a 50-50 fight, right? If you pick Shawn to win this fight, don't change your opinion based on that sparring session, okay? The video was 3 years ago, and these guys have fought better fighters in the ring in real fights since that fight, that sparring session. I believe Keith said something in the interview about he did 5 rounds before Shawn even got in the ring with him. So I just wouldn't judge anything off that video. I think Kenny Porter over-exaggerated about what happened in that fight. I think Keith was edging, but it wasn't nothing significant that happened in that sparring session for me to really care. I've seen it, and Kenny Porter. This is the thing about Kenny Porter. He does a lot of interviews. Okay, he says "we" when he talks about Shawn Porter fighting. He says "we." Okay, a lot of these guys do that when they say their team, whatever, people, the trainers, the camp, they say "we." Listen, Shawn Porter's getting in the ring. All right, Kenny Porter's not going to be fighting. Kenny Porter is Shawn Porter's father. All right, he's the same way as Ruben Guerrero, Angel Garcia, Floyd Sr. He's going to be biased towards his son. All right, he's going to over-exaggerate things. He's always going to have his son's back, no matter what. Okay, if his son loses, he's going to think his son won. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I don't take what Kenny Porter says too seriously. All right, I respect him, but Kenny Porter can say whatever. I don't go too deep into what he says, because that's his son at the end of the day, and he's going to always stand by his son. All right, the sparring session was decent, but these guys, Shawn has fought Bruner, he's fought Kell Brook since then, and other fighters. Keith Thurman has fought Guerrero since then. He's fought Collazo. He's fought, a bunch of people. I don't need to break down who they fought. I mean, if it was 3 years ago, these guys have fought other fighters since that sparring session. These guys have improved since that sparring session, and it was just sparring. These guys weren't fighting on a high level, okay? Neither one of them were, all right? Judging based on how I've seen them fight in the ring, these guys weren't fighting on a high level, which they shouldn't have been, okay? It's sparring. So I don't think anyone should take it that serious. Besides, regardless of who you pick, if you think Shawn is going to win this fight, it's for the obvious reasons. Shawn is more aggressive, all right? Shawn is going to be trying to outwork Keith Thurman. Shawn is a fitness freak, okay? He stays in the gym. He doesn't drink. He's very dedicated, okay? He's very responsible, okay? He treats boxing like his full-time job, which he should, even when he's not in camp, okay? Even when he's not in camp, he's still in camp. Not the most skilled fighter, in my opinion, but he works hard. All right, he's probably one of the hardest working boxers in this sport. And if you think Shawn is going to win, it's because you think he's going to outwork Keith. He's going to go to his body. He's going to be aggressive. All right, he's going to tangle up with Keith and just bully him and be very physical with Keith. All right. If the judges like that, they're gonna pick Shawn. If it goes to decision, they're gonna pick Shawn based on his work rate. Okay, it's not because his accuracy and his or whatever, his precision or anything like that. It's not going to be because of that. Keith, on the other hand, you're going to like his his counter punching ability. He's going to be more accurate. He's going to be the guy that is going to be on the outside moving, making Shawn miss and counter punching him and setting traps. He's going to be that guy in this fight. Okay? If you like that, if the judges like that, then we're going to go with Keith. Okay? Plus, Keith has serious knockout power. Alright? Now that he's been stepping up and fighting better fighters, he hasn't been knocking everyone out. That's what happens. Okay? He's been fighting better fighters now. He's not going to always be one time. Alright? But I think in this fight, he's going to have to be. I think he should definitely try to knock out Shawn, because he has something to prove to people. He had a fight with Bundle where he hurt Bundle early, but then fought a safe fight because of the way Bundle, the adjustments Bundle was making, and he just didn't want to get clipped. Okay, he knew that he had a fight in the bag. I think Keith has been trying to stop guys since that fight. All right. But if you think Keith is going to win, it's for those obvious reasons. If you guys want to watch a full breakdown of this fight that I've done, I'll leave the link in the description. All right. But I think Keith is going to win. I think Keith, in his power, okay, and his accuracy, is going to win him the fight. Possibility of him hurting Shawn Porter. I think Thurman is going to land an uppercut that might hurt Shawn Porter, at least if not drop him. I think he's going to be able to at least hurt him a few times, possibly dropping him, possibly knocking him out. Okay, I'm just going to go with Keith. That's my pick. I think Shawn could win this fight. I think Shawn and his ability to go to the body might hurt Keith. I think Keith. See, the thing with Keith Thurman, and you know what? I'm gonna leave it at that. If you guys just wanted to hear a breakdown of the fight, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna get into something else with these two fighters. I really like these two fighters on a personal level. Not like I know them, but I like them. I like what they stand for. I like their behavior. I like just the way they carry themselves in and outside of the ring. Okay, I like these two. Shawn Porter reminds me, him and his relationship with his father, they kind of remind me of my relationship with my father. Me and my father travel together. Me and my father go out together. We party, we drink together. We do these type of things. Like, I know they don't drink or anything. I'm not always with my dad like Shawn, but we have the same type of relationship. So I like Shawn. If you guys didn't see, there's a shitload of interviews these guys done with Fight Hype. Check out Fight Hype in their YouTube channel. Keith and Shawn did a lot of interviews leading up to this fight. Shawn and Keith also did a special called the Reveal on Showtime. There's a couple videos. I'll leave those links in the description, so definitely check them out. They were very, very good. All right. Shawn, very humble man, not flashy. Not saying there's anything wrong with showing off your jewelry and pop, and your cars and everything. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, because it's nothing wrong with splurging and treating yourself to whatever the things that you like that you can afford. But I think these guys, especially these two, being that they're two Black American fighters, they don't really fall in the lines of the stereotypes that you think of Black Americans and these fighters or athletes in general. Okay, these guys are both, they came up. They're both family men. They're both close to their parents. They're both not into buying fancy cars. Shawn Porter doesn't care about fancy cars, and neither does Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, in the video and the Reveal with Showtime that I'm going to leave the link of, Keith Thurman was driving a Toyota Prius, okay? He's driving a Toyota Prius. Like, I wouldn't drive a Toyota Prius. Keith Thurman has more money than me. I like these guys, and I like what they stand for. I think these guys are role models, especially for a lot of young black, African Americans come up. These are the guys that if I had children, I would want them to look up to those guys, when they're growing. If they're going to look up to any athletes, I would want them to look up to those guys because the way they carry themselves, okay? Very respectful. Keith, not as humble as Shawn Porter, does a lot more talking, but he's not disrespectful. It's all competitive nature with Keith Thurman, okay? But I notice a lot of things with these guys, and they just don't perpetuate the stereotypes in America as black men. Keith Thurman, he meditates. He sits Indian style and plays the flute. He's a different type of dude. And when you listen to Keith, and I hope someday he becomes a commentator, because he breaks boxing. When he gets interviewed, you can tell that he's a fan. He's not just a fighter. He's a fan of the sport. You can tell that he follows all of the other fighters at the welterweight division. He watches their fights. You can tell he's like us, where he sits on YouTube and he watches Amir Khan's fights, or Paulie's fights, or Danny Garcia. You can tell because whenever he's asked about any of these other fighters, he doesn't just say, "Oh, I'll beat them," or "They're not good enough for me." No, he breaks down how they fight and what he would do if he fought them, or what they do when they fight other people. He breaks it down. Like, you can tell he watches their fight. He doesn't just say, "Oh, I could beat those guys. They're not good enough for me." Anyone can say that. But you can tell on their free time, they actually study the other fighters that could be potential opponents for them one day. And that's what I like about Keith. He gets great interviews, amazing interviews, And you can tell because if you look at his interviews, dude be having like 100 likes, 0 dislikes. The dude is great. And I heard him do commentary for I believe it was the Guerrero-Danny Garcia fight. I think it was that fight. And I wasn't too much of a fan because he was doing a little too much talking about himself. But it was his first time doing commentary. He kind of reminds me of when he is talking about the fighters and he's talking about the technicalities of each fighter. He does it in a way similar to Paulie Malignaggi, a guy who I love to hear doing commentary. I love when Paulie breaks the fights down. And I even like the way Paulie does it much better than Roy Jones, I think Keith can be like that someday, if he were to ever do it, I even like the way Andre Ward gives commentary, but I like these guys, I think they're just good role models, Shawn and his relationship with his father, not drinking, Keith, I even seen him sitting, I don't know if he's dating someone, and this is just my opinion, it's not, this guy, I don't want you guys to take what I say in this video as some kind of race thing or anything like that. It's just that we have stereotypes of us black Americans here in America. You hear them. You hear them on YouTube. There's people that's out there that talks about us. And these two fighters don't really fall into any of that. There's plenty of us that don't fall into that. But these fighters are on TV, and they're not cursing and they're not getting arrested every, so often, and they're not drinking and popping bottles and doing all this crazy stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that lifestyle, but they don't fit into the stereotypes of us here, and this is why I like them. I see Keith Thurman in one of the fights where he was sitting in the crowd watching the fight. And he was with, a young lady, African American. I believe she's African. I know she was black, but she looked to be black. But she was like a natural, not a model looking chick, not the long weave and you know, a lot of African American women here, they tend to try to make themselves look like European women, you know, European white women. They try to, you know, they have all the fake eyelashes, and I seen the lady he was sitting with was a dark skinned woman with natural hair. You know, she had that whole Afrocentric look, and that might be his taste. And if that's not your taste, that's cool. But what I'm saying is rare to see a guy that is making millions in a fight sit with a woman that look like that. You know, usually they're sitting with a woman that, you know, it's an Instagram model, and that, you know, that they're showing off their body. You know, I'm just giving you my opinion, you know, and this is why I like those two guys. I like those two guys. You know, I don't know what Shawn Porter is doing with dating or anything. I just know his relationship with his father reminds me of my relationship with my father. And I know Keith just seems to be a stand-up guy, you know, a guy that loves the sport, you know, and he's a student of the game, and he loves the sport. He loves it. It's not all about money and being flashy. It's not like that with neither one of those guys. You know, so win or lose, I love these two. I hope they have good, solid careers. I love what Floyd did for the sport. He didn't let anyone play him. He played the sport, you know, as far as making his money and staying healthy, all right, maximizing his profit. I love that aspect of Floyd, okay? That's great. I'm glad he did that. And I hope he doesn't never go broke like the way these other fighters. A lot of these other fighters mentally aren't great, are broke, okay? They have to return, possibly doing MMA or doing something crazy just to get a fight, you know? But you got to look at these guys too that are keeping themselves clean. They might not be making Mayweather money, but they have a good attitude, you know, and they're staying out of trouble. And this is why I like these two in particular. There are other fighters like that too. You know, even Andre Ward, a family man, religious man, you know, always talk about, he got married, he has kids. We don't have a lot of guys like these guys in the sport that are married, you know, and don't have a bunch of kids running around, a bunch of baby mothers, you know, that's constantly getting arrested. We don't have a lot of guys to look up to like that. You know, I'm in my 30s now. You know, I'm in my younger 30s now. So a lot of these guys are younger than me now. But for the next generation of younger boxing fans, you guys that's in your teens that watch this video, or your younger 20s, you can look up to these guys, in my opinion, you know. Anyway, I got Thurman winning this fight, okay? I don't know if he's gonna stop Porter. I don't think he's gonna stop Porter, but I think he's going to hurt Porter. I think he could drop Porter. I do also believe that Porter can hurt Keith with the body thing, you know, but I've seen Keith do his interviews lately, and he's kind of put it out there like, I know people are expecting him to just go to my body and me taking hits or whatever. You know, I think he's going to be prepared for Porter trying to go to his body. I just hope that Keith Thurman worked on trying to tie up, because not tying up at all, and I know he doesn't want to, because he just likes to fight his way out of things all the time. Sometimes it's great. It's great action. Glad he doesn't want to tie up. But Shawn Porter will tie up. All right, he does lunge in. He does smother his punches and yours. And he's going to make a rough physical fight, and he's going to try to tire you out. Keith likes to rely on his legs. It might come to a point where if he takes a good shot, he might have to tie up. I hope he's prepared to do that. He should be prepared to do it, because it's possible that it might happen if he gets the wind knocked out of him. All right, but Keith Thurman needs to come out banging. All right, the lateral movement and everything is good. Outboxing him on the outside is good, but he needs to get the respect from Shawn as early as possible. I mean, first round, come out aggressive like you did against Guerrero. force Shawn Porter to fight on his back foot. Okay, force him to. All right. That's my video. Let me know what you guys think. I know I spoke on a lot here. Make sure you check out those videos on Fight Hype. Check out the reveal on Showtime, on the Showtime Sports channel. I'll leave the link there. And then also, if you want to check out my old breakdowns of these fights, where I give you a more in-depth breakdown, check those videos out too. I'll leave those in the description of this video as well. And I'm out of here. See you guys later. Peace.